Aids approve it, you can start the meeting.
I kind of got that. See ya. Are you thinking you speak in Oregon now?
At what point in time? You will be given an opportunity. I'll lift him out.
You are finally ready? We have that? Good morning, everybody. It's time for us to get things started, so I will now begin to read my script as I was told to. Have a motion and a second. All right, we're good to go this morning. No. The person running the meeting is going to veto that. Yeah. Welcome to our 2024 Fall DTRAIN General Session. Before we start the meeting, I will ask Commodore Ventress to give us a brief safety session. That's brief enough.
Good morning, everyone. The remnants of Hurricane Francine have not graced us with their presence this weekend yet. That gives us a big orange type of weekend, right? Oh, there's not that many fans in here today, huh?
Go back to sleep, Randy.
I'm going back. Well, I thought that would be it, but we still have to be aware, though, of potential severe weather and other issues. So if we do have a storm spin up and we do happen to have tornadic activity, we will shelter in place for the time being unless hotel staff gives us direction otherwise. If we have time, we'll move to the closest stairwells. If we have to evacuate the building, we will exit through the front of the building, turn left, get up in the other side of the parking lot, and accumulate up there, but leave room for any emergency vehicles coming through. For those of you that are instructing classes the next day or tomorrow especially, or anybody that's taking a class this weekend, we'll have a short safety presentation and instruction before each class, and that's going to be the responsibility of the instructors of the class, so take note of that. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Randy. And as usual, for any of you who are walking around up here, watch out for the cords. They're all taped down, but watch where you're walking. All right. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. And I'm not going to follow my script because to me it seems just a hair backwards. First, I'd like to ask Chaplain Oliver Trimmew to come forward for the invocation. And as he's walking forward, is he here? I don't have a chaplain this morning. Mr. Duncan, would you feel free, so inclined to be our chaplain this morning? And while he's coming forward, would the audience please stand?
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to once again gather here on the right descending bank of the Tennessee River. We thank you for the opportunity to come here and represent our divisions and our flotillas and our families as we meet, have elections, enjoy the food, and enjoy the company. We ask your protective hand not only upon our members who are not here, but the entire Coast Guard family, all the armed forces, the emergency responders as they seek to save lives and put their own lives in jeopardy. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Let's see, I think someone's going to do the Pledge of Allegiance next.
Yes.
Short as I can make it.
Ron, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ron. Please be seated. Now, would Duncan Wilkinson, Commodore Meyer, Commodore Ventris, and Commodore Shaw please come forward for the crossing of the bar?
The ceremony's over there. For those of you that don't understand what we're doing or have never seen this before, I'll explain to you what's happening. For those of you that have heard the speech several times, you can tell me what I've done wrong again. When some of us, like Mark and I and Chris and others, joined the auxiliary, we used to get a card. You know, it was a real card, and it had our member number on it, along with our name. And our member number was the district, the division, the flotilla, and the sequence we joined that flotilla. So that number was unique to us. If we moved flotilla, we got a new member number. If we moved division, we got a new member number. And when you passed, one of the responsibilities for the flotilla commander was to get that card and send it to the IRO. And then we would use them for the crossing the bar. We don't have those anymore. We can't burn the plastic ones because they create a hazard and they smell bad. So we use a piece of paper. What we do is we would take those paper membership cards and use them in crossing the bar and actually burn them in the cauldron. Rick's going to use a piece of paper. Now, the other part is you understand the fact when they ring the name and they ring the bell, that's the standard way of honoring somebody. But we also have introduced the tradition of the 8 bells. And the tradition of the 8 bells respects the deceased mariners and signifies that a sailor's watch is over. The practice dates back to the days of sailing ships when sailors couldn't afford to have their own timepieces and relied on the ship's bells to tell time. The ship's boy kept time by using a half-hour glass. Each time the sand ran out, he would turn the glass over and ring the appropriate number of bells. Now, so there was no confusion, they would strike the bell twice for each of the bells. Each ship watch was 4 hours, or 8 bells in length. However, on the 8th bell, the captain of the deck officer had to direct the end of the watch before the bell was sounded. So we will proceed with ringing the names, and then we will conclude the ceremony with the closing remarks and the 8 bells. Where's Matt? Matt's behind me. Are you guys ready? Fire red.
Rose Powell, 0820107, Castleton, Indiana. Annie Perry, 0820402, Jefferson, Indiana. Raymond Fiedler, 0820501, Cincinnati, Ohio. Jim Huffnagel, 0820807, Paducah, Kentucky. Ken Farst, 0821207, Quad City, Tennessee. Bob Robbins, retired, 0821605, Hiawassee, Tennessee. Linda DeClout, 0822402, Guntersville, Alabama. Erwin Horton Jr., 0822404, Florence, Alabama.
Our Lord has called our shipmates to sail with him in eternally calm waters, forever free from the storms and tempests of mortal life. We honor and cherish the memory of our shipmates, but we do not mourn for them, for they have found refuge in the great harbor of eternal peace. Rather, it is for us, ourselves, that we mourn, for our good friends have slipped their moorings in the night and are no longer among us. We'll miss their hands on the helm. We will miss their shoulders next to ours. We will miss their encouragement and counsel as we meet the storm and strife of life. We mourn our loss, but we are consoled by the abiding faith that when the final watch changes for us, and we too cross the bar, our shipmates will be waiting to lead us into safe anchorage. We bid you hail and farewell until we drop anchor beside you at the last great rendezvous. Their watch is complete. Commander Ventress, strike 8 bells. This concludes the ceremony for our memorial for the past. The team is dismissed.
Thank you, Ron, Duncan, and the Commodores. It's now my time to introduce our guests and the XCOM. To my right, we don't have Captain Heather Mattern yet. She will hopefully arrive later. Our direct.
Captain Moore will also be here this afternoon.
And if all goes well, Captain Moore will be here this afternoon. He has told us that. My secretary didn't make note of that, but thank you for reminding me before I went too far. What?
I read it down before you did.
Well, yeah. The other secretary, my secretary, the aide didn't write it down. The aide told me, but didn't write it down. It's not your fault. It's me. I know. But moving on along, having had the fun, we now get to our director's office and the director of the auxiliary, Captain, you got a promotion. Congratulations. You didn't know I had that authority, did you? I think I'm going to start over. Commander Adam Cernovich. And next to him, we have our wonderful OTO, Scott Cayley. And the person next to her who's guarding the computer that has our National Commodore on it. Of course, we have Kelly. And there's the National Commodore's waving at you all, so you can all wave back. Hi. On my other side, and I will try to do better on this side, I might do better if I just look at them. We have Ron Bono, our Chief of Staff. We have John Franco, District Captain East. We have Mike Miller, District Captain South. Then we have Leo Yakutis, District Captain West. And the person we're going to bump off the end of the table later on, our immediate past District Commodore, Matt Meyer. Hi, Matt. You are feeling the love, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm hanging on for dear life.
Roseanne, would you please call the roll and make sure we have a quorum?
Chris Whitaker, District Commander.
Here, I think.
Commodore, I'm sorry.
I'll still be here.
Ron Mark. I'm going back to this. Ron Bono, District Chief of Staff.
Here.
John Franco, District Captain East.
Here.
Mike Miller, District Captain South.
Here.
Leo Yakutis, District Captain West. Commander Adam Cernovich, Director 8th Eastern and Western.
Present.
Matt Meyer, Immediate Past District Commodore. Randy Ventris, Immediate Past President, Past Division Commanders Association.
Present.
Mike Richard, Commander Division 1.
Present.
John Burrell, Vice Commander Division 2.
Present.
Carl Weinrich, Captain Division 4.
Present.
Robert Wood, Commander Division 5.
Here.
Greg Taylor, Vice Commander Division 6.
Present.
Victor Rogers, Commander Division 7.
Present.
Gene Stegman, Commander Division 8.
Present.
Cliff Ogden, Commander Division 11.
Present.
Timothy Scoggins, Commander Division 12.
Present.
Sarah Canatzy, Commander Division 16. Eric Schultz, Commander Division 18.
Present.
Eric Nielsen, Commander Division 24. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Roseanne. You should have all received a copy of the minutes of the last DTRAIN. Does anyone have any changes that need to be made other than minor grammatical changes? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Victor Rogers makes the motion. Do we have a second? We have a toss-up at the end between Eric Nielsen and somebody else. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. The motion passes. Very good. Now we come to that point that at least a few dozen people in the room have been waiting for. Duncan, would you care to come forward and help us with running the elections?
First off, if you're wondering why I'm wearing this uniform, is because the last thing you put in your car is your hanging bag. When you get to where you're going, the first thing you realize what you've left home is your hanging bag with your uniform in it. Luckily, I had put this in the suitcase. So, we're going to hold elections. There's something we have to do different, though, than we normally have done it. Those of you that are familiar with our standardized standing rules, 6.7 reads, and by the way, our Past Division Commanders Association is authorized to attend and vote. The president of the Past Commanders Association is a voting member of the district board. If the president of the Division Commanders Association is unable to attend the district board meeting, another Past Division Commanders Association member designated by the president of the Past Division Commanders Association may attend the meeting and represent the Past Division Commanders Association, but the designated Past Division Commanders Association representative shall have no vote on the district board. There is a provision in Robert's Rules that you set aside or you suspend certain parts of your standing rules or your agenda. We've talked to via email with our legal, and we have a prepared motion to set aside the word no. Set aside and suspend basically mean the same thing. The motion is not debatable. It has to be seconded, and if it doesn't pass, it can't be reintroduced. The purpose of this is that Dave Stroop's wife, Carol, is going into surgery for her back and couldn't make the trip. So Dave has appointed Randy to be the representative. The Past Commanders Association last night in session gave Randy direction to how they should vote, how he should vote on the first ballot for the candidates that are running. So I've greased the skids. So Eric, would you please make the motion?
Yes, sir. So I move that the word no in the last sentence, 6.7 be set aside.
Okay. I'm supposed to repeat that motion. Does anybody have any question with it? Is there a second? The motion has been made and seconded. It requires a 2/3 majority vote to pass. So if you would vote yes, please raise your hand. Looks to me like it's 2/3. Those that oppose, raise their other hand. The motion passed. So Randy, you can cast your ballots. The standing rules also require that the screening committee verifies that the people who submitted their letters of intent are still valid candidates. So will the chairman of the screening committee do so? Rick?
You were my chairman of the screening committee. All you gotta do is.
I was just nominated. For district chief of staff.
You just have to say that they're, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yes, they've all been vetted.
Okay. When we get to that particular candidate's position, I will put their name in nomination. We will have the floor open for nomination, and the floor is the voting members of the board, not you guys in the back row.
But we are glad you're here.
We're glad you're here. And don't forget to leave a $5 donation for the Commodore.
Immediate pass.
An immediate pass, they will split it. We have a tally committee. Let's see, the tally committee, since we do have people that have to be voted upon. The tally committee chairman is Mark Deaver. Commodore Rick Shaw is a member, and the OTO, Scott Cayley, is a member. They will pass out the ballots. They will collect the ballots. If you're a candidate and you slip a $100 bill in your ballot, they'll send you to jail. They will go off and count the votes. During the count, we will continue on with the next election. So, the ballots do not have the names on it. The names will appear on the screen. You will write down the person you want to vote for. If you do not want to vote for any of them, simply fold your ballot and then hand it to the tally committee. The tally committee will write the results of the election on an envelope, bring it to me. If there's a tie, they will write both names, and we will have another vote. And if there's still a tie, we'll keep going, and I'll read to you what we have to do out of standing rules. If there's not a tie, they will write the person who's been elected on it, and I will announce that. Does anyone have any questions about how we're going to run the election? Kelly will be voting for the National Commodore. In fact, that the National Commodore tell her what the vote is, she will mark the ballot and turn it in. If the okay? Any questions? Our tally committee? We don't have to do a vote on the first person. I put in the nomination, Ron Bono for District Commodore. Do I hear a nomination? Anyone want to make anyone on the board want to make a nomination for the District Commodore? Second time, anyone want to make a nomination for the District Commodore? Third time, does anyone want to make a nomination for the District Commodore? Hearing none, I declare the nominations closed. We'll do our standard courtesy thing. Will the secretary please cast one ballot for Ron Bono?
Do I need to do it orally?
Yes.
Okay, we cast one ballot for Ron Bono.
Congratulations, Ron Bono. You're elected to District Commodore. Now, I thank you very much for nobody nominating him because he had a 45-minute speech for his. The next position, the standing rules state that we have to do them in order. District Commodore and then running for the district's chief of staff. So if you'll put the names up. I place in nomination Mike Miller and Anthony Walters for district chief of staff. Are there any nominations for someone that wants to run for district chief of staff? Going once? Second time, anyone want to put in nomination, anyone to run for district chief of staff? Going twice? Third time, anyone want to put in a nomination for the district staff? By the way, the old standing rules said we had to do that, and we do it. Robert's rules said you don't have to, but we've done it. Okay, the nominations are closed. Each one of the candidates are authorized 3 minutes to make a speech. If the tally committee will go ahead and pass out the ballots, and we'll do it in order. Mike? And I will play captain.
Good morning. In 15 years, the auxiliary will be celebrating its 100th birthday. We need to be able to celebrate that with a robust and engaged membership that is serving our communities and supporting the Coast Guard. We need to continue to create a culture of success to ensure that we can throw a heck of a party. My vision of district staff is one that's accessible, accountable, approachable, and action-oriented. They need to set the example for the division staff officers and the flotilla staff officers to emulate in their communication, in their mentoring, in their discussions, and in their cultivating of ideas. Our district staff, we're blessed. The staff is talented, dedicated, and subject matter experts. We need to ensure we continue to improve the delivery of that package to our clients, the division staff and the flotilla staff. Our staff watchwords should be mentor, communicate, and empower. I certainly am not the one that can come up with all the answers. But I am the one that will strive to continue to create a culture of positivity and success where actionable ideas are cultivated and members are empowered. The staff will not have all the answers, but together, the district, the division, and the flotillas will come together to continue to create a positive culture of success and move forward and have a heck of a party in 15 years. Thank you very much, and I'd appreciate your vote.
Paid attention to the Commodore safety briefing about the courts. All right. Start. Oh, it's over there. Yeah, okay. That one's still counting down. Yeah. All right. So, good morning, everybody. Do I get 40 extra seconds there, Kelly? No. Because okay. I started my own timer here on my side, on my own here. Whenever I've spoken in front of the group before, Commodore Meyer says you have 5 minutes, and I've always stayed under the time I've been given. Given 3 minutes might be a challenge, but we're gonna do this. So I'm honored to stand here today as a candidate for District Chief of Staff. Over the past 12 years, in my time in auxiliary, I've come to value our proud traditions and our worthy missions. Today, though, I want to share my vision with you for the future of our district, focusing on 3 core principles or watchwords. They are transparency, accountability, and succession planning. I know succession planning is 2 words, but it's one concept. So last night during a meeting we had, the question came up is why do I want to be Chief of Staff? I thought about it, and my answer is I like working with people. I like solving problems. I like bringing together different perspectives to solve those problems. As you've heard, not everyone has the answer to everything. No one's a master of everything, but together we can master and be a better district. So I want to talk about my watchwords. So transparency. So transparency is essential to building trust and unity within the district. I want to make sure that every member is kept informed and has the opportunity to contribute to our decision making. Through regular communications, through a chain of leadership, of course, town halls and digital platforms, this will give everyone a voice and access to important information and updates. Second, I want to talk about accountability. Accountability is key to our success. And up on the screen behind us, I've shared my vision for our district, and also when you came in, you had a paper in front of you that had that statement written down, as well as some other extended visions. I did that so you can hold me accountable for what I've written down, and there's no question about what Anthony said, today. We'll focus on clear, smart goals to drive our district forward and recognize success of our members. Next, I'm going to talk about succession planning. And succession planning is not just looking ahead for transitioning of division commanders, vice commanders, and other staff officers. It helps prepare the next generation of leaders. Engaging new members, especially younger members from Aux Scout and the Auxiliary University program, will help develop future leaders to ensure that our district continues to thrive. In conclusion, my vision for District 8 ER is to strengthen our foundation through transparency, accountability, and succession planning. Together, we will uphold our proud traditions, brace new challenges, and build a stronger district for the future. Thank you for your trust and your support, and I look forward to serving as your next District Chief of Staff. Thank you very much.
Okay, if you have a ballot, please write the name down legibly so the tally committee can read it. Again, if you just do not want to vote for either candidate, do not put anything on your ballot. Do not spoil your ballot. The chairman is collecting them. Even if you did not vote, he needs to know how many are in there because we account for all the ballots. Do you have all of them, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Will the tally committee go off and tally? I don't think that's the right word. I think they're supposed to count. We will proceed on with the election for District Captain East. Okay. I will place their names in nomination. Do I have a nominations from the floor for anybody that would like to run for District Captain East? Remember, they must reside in Divisions 2, 6, 7, or 18. Second call for nominations for District Captain East. Third call for District Captain East. Nominations are closed. Only members for district from the divisions 2, 6, 7, and 18 from the division commander sides can vote for that candidate. Make sure that you tell the tally committee you are eligible to vote or not. Victor, are you ready? The timer is up on the wall back there. I forgot to bring the cane to hit you if you went over, but.
I'm not Anthony now.
But they've already voted, so it doesn't matter.
Good morning, everyone. I'm deeply honored to stand here before you today as a candidate for District Captain East. It fills me with pride and excitement to have this opportunity to address everyone, an esteemed group of delicate individuals who serve our country as volunteers. As I reflect on the important work that we do, especially with losing a lot of our small boat stations, we've been called to service more than ever. So my focus would be as district captain is to help teach our younger leadership, help grow them as better leaders, because without them, we aren't going to be able to do anything. Too much we see us just putting someone in place to fill a hole. We need to change that culture. We need to build them up to make them better leaders. It's the only way we're going to succeed. If we keep just filling the hole, it's just going to hurt us in the long run. Because then people are going to get up to the next level, and it's just going to hurt us even more. So my vision is to help teach the younger leaders in the divisions and the flotillas how to really do the position. A lot of us come in with other knowledge from outside, but within the auxiliary, it's completely different. There's different protocols and things we have to do. So my vision is to work on teaching the leaders and also grow the auxiliary with our AUP program and working with the Sea Scouts. Get the youth involved in the auxiliary because we're not getting any younger. I mean, we're also getting tasked more and more with active duty support. This is a way for us to get the younger generation involved as well. So my focus is to, like I said, build the leaders, grow with youth into the auxiliary, and also develop our members that we currently have. Even if they're new, to help them with the new members training versus the members who've been around for a while. Let's help get them with those advanced qualifications as well. So that is my vision. I'm here to help everyone no matter what. So thank you.
Bob Clancy? Timer's on the wall. It counts down.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm going to start off with a story. And, you know, most stories start off fairy tales. What happens once upon a time. Political, if I'm elected, and Navy stories, you're not going to believe this. I'm going to tell you a true story. 6 years ago, another auxiliary, Tony Norman, and I were pulled out of a DTRAIN because our division was in such bad shape, nobody wanted to run for a division office. This one gentleman put his name in, and it alerted everybody. And so after some conference, Tony and I agreed to go for division commander and vice commander. We flipped a coin, Tony lost, so he ended up going for division commander. Well, our job was we cannot recycle. Tony and I agreed to bring our division forward, we must bring in new leaders. We need to mentor younger people, newer people, get new ideas. And by the way, that gentleman that was running for office got kicked out of the auxiliary the following year. As a result of that, we have brought our division to a point of new leadership, new members, new ideas, and for the last 3 years, our division has been Division of the Year, and I understand we're in the running for Division of the Year again this year. So I'm a firm believer in mentoring the younger people. I have to admit, when the younger people first took over, I had to bite my tongue. They think differently than I do. But the end result was wonderful. At the last division meeting, I sat there and said, our division's in good shape. So my DCAP responsibilities, I understand you really have no authority. You are there to mentor, you are there to advise, you are there to help. My goal is to get out to the divisions, share what I experienced with Division 6, help them mentor, bring new people in, bring new ideas in, and hopefully we'll have 4 divisions in the East running for Division of the Year. Thank you.
The Tally Committee has brought the envelope. The elected person for District Chief of Staff is Anthony Waters. If any candidate wants to see the results of and challenge the vote, you have 24 hours from now to advise me in writing that you want to challenge the vote. And then we will have, with the Chief Tally Committee, we will open the envelope again, and you'll have a chance to count the votes. So Mark will be keeping these. At the end of 24 hours, he will destroy the entire batch. We will now hold the election for District Captain East. Mark, Division Commanders of 2, 6, 7, and 18 are the voting members. So if you guys will raise your hand. Please write the name legibly, who you're voting for. Tally Committee Chairman is writing the name of the position on the envelope. Now he's ready to collect your vote. Along with the OTO. That's it. Tally ho! There's a joke that goes with that. The guy went on these things with the horses and the fox, and after the thing was, the chairman of the grove told the rider, the command is not there goes the bastard, but tally ho, there goes the fox. Running for South. You were advised by the Commodore who was running. Tom Jr. has withdrawn his nomination. I therefore place a nomination. You got South up? The names that appear there. Are there any nominations for District Captain South? Once. Nominations for District Captain South. Twice. Nominations for District Captain South. Third time. Nominations are closed. Eric and then Clift.
Am I allowed to move the microphone?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning. I'm asking you for your consideration for the position of District Captain South. Vice Admiral Gautier stated at NACON that the Coast Guard is preparing for conflict as soon as 2027. I can provide a little more context on that here. China's President Xi has directed the People's Liberation Army to be prepared to take Taiwan by force no later than January of 2027. That timeline coincides with this watch that we are choosing our leaders today on. My day job is focused on making that date slide as far to the right as possible, and I'm privileged to work with a team from the offices of the Secretary of Defense, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the services, the Department of Energy, working on tasking directly from the National Security Council. While I am in the DC area, I am augmenting Coast Guard headquarters, supporting both CGEM in my role as Division Chief of Planning for the Q Directorate, and working closely with CG 771, the Requirements and Analysis Office for the entire Coast Guard. As a result of the work that I conducted, being a part of the team for the gap analysis 2 years ago, I've partnered with Captain Jason Smith, who's the chair of the Coast Guard programs at the National War College, to identify how the Coast Guard can leverage the auxiliary as we pivot to great power competition and away from the global war on terror. Captain Smith and I were both fellows at the Changing Character of Warfare cohort this year, conducted by the Center for Strategic and International Studies. As Captain Smith and I have worked on these challenges, we recognize that in great power competition, the homeland will no longer be a sanctuary. The pull will come on both the active duty and the reserve, meaning the inland river areas will become more dependent on qualified auxiliarists to support current mission sets. We've seen this in the idling of several boathouses this year, and we can expect this to continue through the foreseeable future. Admiral Fagan stated in her 2022 strategy that tomorrow looks different, so will we. We are starting to see what that future state should look like. Doing more with less is not sustainable. Doing more with more auxiliarists, however, is. As Division 24 Commander, I've built a strong working relationship with MSD Nashville and have coordinated and assisted in waterways management, aids to navigation, and even supported Coast Guard intelligence activities. Understanding the active duty team and the breadth and depth of the mission that is supported in this area of responsibility will be key to the selected candidate's success in that role. I will be meeting with MSD leadership team in October to review these support areas, as well as the nascent request for aviation and drone support. Just to wrap this up, my leadership style is based on 3 pillars: do your best, have a positive attitude, and be a team player. These elements align well with honor, respect, and devotion to duty, and this is how I plan on supporting all of the division commanders in South. Thank you for your time today.
All right, thank you. I'll try to not even use the 3 minutes. So some of you know my background. I haven't been in the auxiliary for very long. I think I just got my letter from DIROCS that I got my five-year ribbon. But in that time, I've done a lot of diverse things. I've obtained boat coxswain qualification. I work in the aviation now. Obviously I went through the ranks of flotilla commander up to division commander. And so I've seen a lot. I've worked with small boat stations in a couple of places, been out on 33s, 45s, so I had some good interaction with, the boots on the ground, if you will, and kind of bring that in and fold back in what we do in the auxiliary. I have had those conversations of how can we help. And I've gotten some answers. I also worked this year to get our local unit, MSD Nashville, the AUX unit coordinator on our side to someone who's really active. And so I feel like that we're starting to get those unit connections well put together. One thing I'd say as division commander that I was kind of proud, we had an issue with the flotilla and flotilla leadership and a Sea Scout ship. And we also had a flotilla that was kind of, languishing, if you will. And I was kind of able to put those two together, got some transfers in place, short story, and was basically able to save that relationship with our Sea Scout ship and boost a flotilla. So those transfers are in process, but it resolved the situation. And it's one of those decisions. You've got to think big picture. I've run into some in the auxiliary. They're knee jerk. They react quickly, and that's good in certain operational conditions. But looking at big picture, personalities, emotions, and what's going to happen down the line is very important. So as a district captain, my goals would be to be approachable. I would attend the division change of watches and division meetings upon invites from those division commanders. I want to maintain and improve our organizational images both internally, externally within the auxiliary. New members especially. I mean, you want them, bring them into a good environment, look good, look squared away, or they may just walk out the door for the last time. And of course, for the public, we want that image as well. I want to mentor, observe, and consult. I was a consultant for over 20 years, retired successfully, so the AUX basically is my day job now. It doesn't pay as well, but I don't get taxed as much. I want to protect the district chief of staff and the district commodore from all the phone calls, and help and assist the division commanders with their issues as an intermediary. With that, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. The Tally Committee has presented the envelope. District Captain East is Vic Rogers. Pass out the ballots. The division commanders, captains, the division commanders are south. 11, 12, 16, and 24. So if members of division commanders 11, 12, 16, 24, please raise your hands. Makes it a little easier for By the way, if you're interested in longevity, Mark and I hold the record here. The only other person is Bob Brazil, and he's not here. So your leadership here has plenty of experience. Please mark your ballots. Okay, for Division Captain West, you'll put the Robert Woods has withdrawn his nomination. We only have one. Do I hear any nominations from the floor for the position of Division Captain West? Second time, nominations for Division Captain West. Third time, nominations for Division Captain West. Nominations are closed, Division Captain whatever. There being no other nominations, would the secretary please cast one vote?
Cast one vote for Leo Yakutis as district.
Congratulations. We still have to wait for the tally committee to close out. You're going to have their frocking tomorrow night?
Yep.
Okay. However, they don't get to be their position until January 1. I bring that up because the people that are being replaced tend to think the job's over tomorrow night. Huh?
Would it be possible for those of us in the peanut gallery to hear from Leo, because we may not know him? Is that
Sure, Leo, would you like to, this is your acceptance speech.
You would like to set the timer for 30 seconds? Is that correct? Well, thank you for nominating me, and Robert and I have always worked well together. We're both from Division 5. A little bit about me. Yes, I am in Cincinnati. This will be my second year, so I have to continue working and then continue working next year. I'm looking forward to working with our incoming Commodore. A little bit about me. I work in IT, I work in data security. I crunch a lot of numbers and I send out a lot of reports, but I also work with a lot of personnel issues. I'll be thanking a lot of people when I have my speech this afternoon, so I'm not going to try to duplicate this, but I try to be approachable. I work in a position where I communicate down from the Commodore. I also take issues up, and I'm looking forward to working with our new staff. So if I haven't run over my time allotment, I thank you, and if you would like to speak to me, please find me while we're here this weekend. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to make a speech? Randy? No. If you'd like to sit in the back room as the flotilla leadership class is being conducted either this afternoon or tomorrow, you're welcome to do that. Just don't interrupt the instructor, but you can observe. We will also have an opportunity for meet the brass. There's not a lot of high-level brass, but we do have elected officers. And here come the results for Division Captain South. District Captain South. Guess what, guys? We have a tie vote. Standing rules state that if you have a tie vote, you conduct a second election. So if you'll distribute the ballots, but they don't get to talk again. They can arm wrestle. We have a second election. If there's a tie again, we have a third election. If there's still a tie, then we put the ballots in a container. I withdraw one of the ballots, and the tally committee goes off and makes the count. What would you like to do? Chris, you want to call somebody up?
Okay, now's the time for anybody who knows a good joke to, share it. If you don't know any good jokes, don't tell any bad ones.
Maybe we'll just let them meditate.
Well, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let them meditate because I don't want any of our people to get started and then get cut off.
For those of you, here's the sales pitch. For your division commanders that are going out of office, if you haven't joined the Past Commanders Association, you have a personal invitation from Randy, myself, and Rick, and Matt to join us. We have a special. The dues are $10 a year, or we have a lifetime membership for $40, which takes care of as long as you're in the auxiliary. There's an application form on the website. You just fill it out, send a copy to Deanne Rodenberg, send a check to her, and you have joined, and you get to have a lot of fun with us when we meet at our semi-annual meetings at division district boards. We're trying to get the association more actively involved, other than to come into the conferences and talk about what we're going to do and then not do anything. So, but we need some new members. So people with some ideas, especially those of you that are just going out of office, because you know exactly what we can do to help the incumbent division commander. And my guess is, matter of fact, I know every division has somebody that is in the district commanders, Past Commanders Association. They just don't come to conference. You got anything, Randy? Is there anything else? Did I cover that? Okay.
Either tap dance or we could all start singing Here We Sit Like Birds in the Wilderness. No, we don't do that one.
If you haven't read the standardized standing rules, you probably ought to read them because they have a lot of detail in it that I didn't realize was there until he appointed me to be the presiding officer for the election. And once I read all those paragraphs, I realized that for the last, let's see, started in 80. There has never been a conference where elections were conducted in accordance to the standing rules. They've been done, but not in accordance to the standing rules.
So you're trying to claim you're first?
No, I'm just trying to claim. Right. So my guidance to you is when you hold your division election and when you hold your flotilla elections, read the standing rules because they'll tell you what to do.
Before you do that, I got a comment here.
What do you mean by the standardized standard rules? Is that over and above what we have here in the district?
We have the National put out standardized standing rules for districts, divisions, and flotillas. And those, we have no choice. We have to adopt those, and we've done that. Yeah. The only thing we can do is fill in the little blanks, and then we can have an appendix to the standing rules that talk about dues, meeting times, and anything special about our flotilla or our division. Let's see what the envelope says. The envelope says there's a tie vote. Pass out the ballots. This time, if there's a tie vote, we will need a container and put them in, and I will withdraw one of the ballots, and they can go off and count them again. Yes. Say again, I didn't catch it.
Let me handle that one, Duncan.
Yeah.
The past Division Commanders Association has a vote. Their rules state that the first time through, they vote the way they were asked to vote at their meeting. Any subsequent vote, the president or representative votes the best they think they can for whoever's still running. Because that's the one thing we never know is who's going to still be running. So after the first vote, the representative is on his own as to how he votes. He, she, whatever.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
If it's a tie.
I have the bowl ready for you.
Okay. It's wrong color.
Well, yeah, but we're going to use it anyway.
This is orange country.
Not today.
Not today.
Today it's blue country.
While we're sitting here waiting, let's talk about mandated training, core training. Remember, core training is one that expires on 31 December, and that particular subject expires 5 years from the date, not the date you took it, but the year that you took it. Core training is a piece of cake to take because you go to the online schoolroom, referred to as Moodle, is its professional name, and you sit there and listen to what is presented, answer the questions, pass, and go on to the next one. And do. You only have to do 6 now, because they added suicide prevention. It's a new course, suicide prevention. You got till December 2025 to take it, but my suggestion is you go ahead and take it now because you never know who's going to try to commit suicide. That's either in your neighborhood, in your flotilla, and in your business. It's a good course. So if you don't take it, and your 5 years expire, you become REYR in everything that you are qualified to do, including holding office, including doing vessel safety checks, including going out on patrols, including any basic things. So don't let your members let that expire. It's a lot easier to take them than it is to take them afterwards, and then Deanne has to reset your REYR flag. You don't have to download anything. If you take it in Moodle, during the weekend, you'll get credit in Oxdata. And what Oxdata simply does is it just adds 5 years worth of days onto your expire date of that particular subject. So please get your members to do the training in Moodle. My suggestion is if they have one subject that's going to expire, just go ahead and do them all so they all count. Now, our flotilla we're going to have on the 21st, we're going to have a session that everybody sits and watches it online on a screen, and we treat it as a workshop. And I will then put it into the Oxdata as a workshop, and they'll get credit immediately, and everybody, and that's an acceptable way. If you still have the old downloads from a couple of years ago that you can't get anymore, you can present it as a classroom presentation where you present the slides, you do the talk, you do the discussion, and then it's a workshop. So there's several ways to do core training. Don't let your members go REYR. Now, the exception is your AP people. Your AP people have 1 year after they have joined to finish their core training, which also includes BQC2. Now, BQC2 is also available in Moodle, except the questionnaire is in the National Test Center. Moodle will send you to that particular site. You can take it, and the results will be posted on Saturday or Sunday. We have a tie boat here, if you'll. Shake them up. Okay. Here you are. Count them again. Here's the envelope you put in that one.
Unfortunately, they require you to recount. We've made that same count before.
I don't ever remember a time we've gotten to the point of a tie vote. That's the one. That's one I pulled.
That's the loser.
Yeah.
You still got to count the ballots. Right over. Yeah. The numbers are great.
You need to do an envelope for me.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got you. So, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
don't.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't count that one.
I know.
Yeah.
But we have to know who it is. No,
Yeah.
you don't. You just count the ballots of the ones that are in the envelope. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Go count again. One more time.
To continue, if you take the exam in the National Test Center, you don't need to send your IS officer a copy of your receipt that you passed, because it'll automatically be posted in Oxdata late Sunday or early Monday morning. There's a process of it being done. If you send it to your IS officer and they put it in, you're going to get a double entry in Oxdata. And what we really hate when you run a report is double entries, triple entries, because it messes up the count, because Oxdata counts it all as the person having taken. Any questions about BQC2? Last night y'all talked about uniforms. Yes, sir.
Got a question about if you have somebody in AP status and the years run out, you can't convince them to keep putting off doing, what's the strategy for that?
You take him to a restaurant, you buy him a cup of coffee, you open up your laptop that's already logged in, and you say, if you'd like to have a steak dinner, you need to take these tests. That's a strategy now. It may not work. Remember, AP people are exempt from having their uniform assessed. The feeling is that a lot of the AP people haven't had a chance to buy their uniforms, decide what they want to do. If you want to be in the boat crew program, you'll buy something like this. If you want to be in our ODUs, if you just want to be in the leadership thing, you'll buy the uniform like that. The feeling was that AP people haven't really gotten to the point that they can have a uniform. If they become BQ, which means they've taken their core training and have taken the boating safety class, they then become eligible to have a vessel of uniform assessment. The push, by the way, through is get your AP people BQ'd or IQ'd as fast as you can. Clifton Ogden is the division captain for South. This concludes you having to listen to me until a little later on. I will be delivering the envelopes to the head teller.
Thank you, Duncan. Moving on to old business. Do we have any old business that needs to be brought before the board? I didn't think so because we didn't cover any last night. So moving right on along, we will go on to new business. And the first piece of new business is tied up at the moment. So I will take a look out there and see if I see the other person hiding out there. They're not, so. Mark, would you like to talk about budget?
Yes, sir. Last night, we discussed the budget materials. Commander, I left your report at your place. I hope you found it this morning.
I do.
Oh, very good. Thank you, sir. Any questions on the proposed budget? We went through the numbers last night. Basically, take in dues, get some money from the material center, and we pay the normal expenses. We don't have any extraordinary expenses built into this year's budget plan. Entertain any questions that board members have.
We seem to have confused them good last night.
Yes, sir.
So on that basis, I will be happy for somebody to make a motion that we approve the budget as it was submitted. Second? You can't second it. You're no longer in the string, sir. Okay, Greg Taylor seconds. Did you get both of those? That's the name tent says, Greg Taylor. Because Victor didn't.
It was Victor. Yeah, it was.
I mean, yes, Victor can, but no, Victor didn't. Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the budget as submitted. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Commodore-elect, you have a budget for next year.
Right.
You can't start spending it until next year.
Or January 1st.
Teresa, did you have any comments you wanted to make about the ship store in the official thing this morning? Very good, very good.
Know to pre-order as much as you can. Give me a call ahead of time before the next one and fill it with what you want.
All right. Now, that being the case, you will note on your agenda, it says that before we take a break, I'm supposed to get to new business. We have gotten through new business. It's only 9:20. You are allowed to take a break. Please come back in 15 minutes. We will restart at 9:35. Please take your seats. Second call, please take your seats. While you still have it, dude, while you still have it. Fun and games at Sunnybrook Farms. They did away with all the Sunnybrook Farms, I'm sorry. Anyway, moving on along. Just to verify, is anybody not in the room that needs to be in the room for us to have a quorum? Nope, we're all still here, still have a quorum, good to go.
It doesn't affect the quorum, though.
What?
You're missing one, but you still have it.
Yep. That's what I was verifying. All right, with that, Commander Adam Cernovich, Director of 8th Eastern and Western, will now give us his director's update. I tried to catch him in the middle of making a note, so, you know.
Thanks, Commodore.
You're welcome.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm super pumped to be here. Glad we finally got all the dates squared away with the hotel venue, and we weren't double booked this year like we were in the spring. Really sorry to have missed you, but I'm glad that we had some good leadership here with Vice Commodore Kirkwood, and you all had Admiral Barada, Captain Moore here. So I was glad that we were able to get some good leadership here and present a lot of awards. And I'm sorry to have missed you then, but very happy to be here with y'all now and get to interact with you more. Discuss and hear some of the challenges that you guys are all experiencing out in the field, and see what we can do to help support you. That's really what the director's office is here for, to engage with Commodore, Chief of Staff, which I've enjoyed working with them, and understand how we can, like I said, remove hurdles, provide resources, and just make it easy for you guys to do the things that you want to do, which is operate and support the U.S. Coast Guard and the taxpayers out there in their boating safety efforts as well. So again, I always like to start out these events with a hearty thank you to our staff. We do have Laura here, so thanks for making the trip. And of course, Tom Smith is completing. He's in his second year now. I think somewhere around year and a half we're encroaching on. So don't let him claim the newbie card anymore. He knows what he's doing, and he's helping out a lot. And a couple things that Tom has been working on diligently in the office that I know some of you may have experienced as challenges out there are the background checks, and then the upcoming transition from ALAC to NEATS, okay? He can talk to you more about the specifics on those offline if we need, but I will say I've got notes here about the background checks. Of course, the bad that's out there, ICC is putting them on the bottom of their to-do list for annual checks. So the annual check requirement, we do have a process. I don't want to say that they're getting done in an acceptable, timely fashion. So the backlog is growing on the annual checks. That is a risk that we're aware of, BSX is aware of, and they continue to look for the permanent solution to the annual background checks. The good that I can say about background checks is BSX is handling the entry-level checks. And when you recruit a new member and we are doing the entry-level background check, I can assure you that that is getting done quickly, within a matter of days less than a couple of weeks, and getting back to our office in a timely fashion so that we can make appropriate decisions on enrollment for new members. So please, if you're experiencing anything other than good support in entry-level background checks, it may mean that something's been overlooked or some paperwork has been lost or misplaced or not routed correctly in our mailroom. Again, so I want to say, new membership enrollments, background checks, they're happening quickly. Tom's working on those swiftly and turning those around in a timely fashion. If you're not seeing that on your end, give us a call, reach back out. So again, thanks to Laura and Tom for really shoring up the staff there. Again, also moved to OTO, Scott Cayley. Obviously, you all know him. I'm going to save some of what the office is doing for his update, but I know he's out there working with all of you. I hear nothing but great reports, and I want to thank him for the great work that he does there out of Louisville. As we do not have a representative from BSX here today, I do want to speak a little bit on their behalf and just remind you that we've had a turnover in the BSX office up there at headquarters. So Captain Brent Schmadeke is your new chief director. He's also an aviator, so don't hold that against him. And we have Commander Stacy Wiest, who is coming in as BSX-1. Okay, both of these people I've known for a long time. I can vouch for them. You are in wonderful hands up there at the headquarters office. Like I said, Captain Brent Schmadeke is just coming off a commanding officer tour in Port Angeles, Washington. He's a career H-65 pilot. I've known him for a lot of years. He's a great person, a great leader. Will do very well by you. Commander Stacy Wiest is a classmate of mine from the academy. She has a sector and inspections background, vessel inspections. She's got a master's degree in naval engineering and has been inspecting vessels in her career. She is finishing up a tour at Sector New York and will be coming to the office from there. So again, a wealth of experience from Commander Stacy Wiest. Both of them are engaged and re-emphasize the 5P vision. Admiral Arguin was again at NACON and in alignment with BSX. And again, RBS, job number one, they want to refocus efforts on that. They are very pleased with the results coming out of the auxiliary as a whole. I know that the Eastern region is doing a lot to lead those efforts. Vessel safety checks, hours on the water, particularly in the Nashville region. I was really impressed with the reports last night at XCOM from each of the district captains. So I think you're obviously getting out there, you're operating, and you're doing the work. So they're very appreciative of that and want to just refocus those efforts on wreck boating safety. In their opinion, job two, I think we all agree, is recruiting. And again, it has been passed up and touted. The really catch and keep program that's coming out of Eastern region has been well received at every level of the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and I applaud again this particular region for leading the way in that. So coming out of BSX as well, more tough news on C-School quotas, okay? C-School quotas for FY24 saw a 31% cut, and budgets are forecast to be further tightened in FY25 with a 70% cut from the original level, down to a total of 171 seats across 17 schools. This is huge. This is really a big impact on getting you the leadership schools, the operational schools that we need to continue to grow the leadership, to grow the operational impact, and to support the recruiting and retention efforts that we all aim to pursue. BSX knows it. BSX understands it. I'm here to let you know that they are very aware of what this will do to our organization, to your organization and your efforts, and they are engaging directly with Forestcom to advocate that that just can't, that can't come to fruition. Okay, I want to emphasize that the cut in FY25 is a forecast. It's not a final decision. Also, I want to emphasize that in FY24, that 31% cut, BSX did a great job of filling empty seats. We were, again, able to get some people into classes that were not forecast to be able to get those seats. So what you can do on your end is to make sure every seat that is funded is filled. Nothing hurts our argument for additional seats more than to not have a funded seat filled. So let's get out there and attend these C schools for the seats that we do have funded. Another thing that has recently come out in an all-aux 3024 that I want to just bring up and highlight is the aux data support contract is scheduled, scheduled to expire this month. And there is a contract that should be signed on September 20th. Again, that's still being negotiated by headquarters contracting staff. It is a risk that licenses will expire on October 2nd. Again, I want to emphasize and state that BSX is on it. They're working with contracting staff at headquarters, and this should not be an impact to you or your members in accessing aux data 2. However, the risk is still there, and I just wanted to point out the update that, again, September 20th, we hope to have that contract signed, and things should be, it should not impact you at your level. More information will, of course, come out if there is a change to that. Uniforms. It's been the year of the uniform inspection, assessment. But again, I just want to ask you all to message to your membership that really, from my perspective, from Chief Dyrock's perspective, and I think as well your leadership, that this is really more of a review and a confirmation. We do not want people being concerned about doing this. However, we do want to emphasize that it is a requirement. We just want to make sure that everybody has the uniform that they're supposed to have, that it's serviceable, and that they are able to get what they need, okay, and that they know how to wear it. So this is just, again, tonight I'm going to speak a little bit about our core values. And one of the things in the core values is, your own honor, right? And then we're going to tie it together as an organization and bond it together. And that's representative of yourself as an individual, but then also as the auxiliary as a whole, and then further to that, the Coast Guard as a whole. So we represent you, you represent the gold side, and that's why we want to just confirm that everybody has a good serviceable uniform. So I want to reemphasize, please make sure that all your members are getting that done. REAR is not something we want to see come January 1 for uniform. And finally, budget. Our office returned budget to District 8 this year, all right? That means we left money on the table, y'all, and we need to make sure that we are doing everything we can to use that money. I recognize and I acknowledge I face the same frustrations on the active duty side that money does not come when we want it. We face continuing resolutions that drift into months into the fiscal year, and then we have to use it all at the end. But I want to say that not having budget at the beginning should not prevent us from planning when we'll have it, okay? So one example is the DSAR event that Western held. I was so happy that so many people took part in that, and that all three districts, regions within our district participated. It was a wonderful event. I know that you all in this area have been looking at planning emergency management, ICS, flotilla leadership academies. Plan those events. Ask us for the monetary support. We will give it to you until we don't have it, and then we'll go ask for some more. All right? That's the way we want to handle things at the DIROC's office. We don't want to leave money on the table. We want to run out and go find more. So that's on the training side as well. I'll say on the QE side, I said it last year. I know Bosun Kaylee says it every day, every year as well. Get your QEs and your hours in as early in the year as possible. I know that your recurrency year goes calendar and our money flows in fiscal year. So this time period of September and October is really the most difficult time of year. It's where you're trying to shore things up before the weather turns a little bit cooler, and we don't have the money. We're getting funds check errors. He's working diligently with our budget officer out of District 8 to get you the money to resolve those funds check errors. What you can do in September is get your orders in, or your request for orders in, as early in the month as possible, so we can get that done before the sweeps occurred. This year they occurred on the 6th, I believe it was. So the final 3 weeks of the year are kind of dead. And then the first month of the year in October is very likely to be a dead month because we won't have a budget on October 1, particularly in a political year like this. So again, just we're committed to getting you the resources. We just need the help on your side and on your membership side to make the requests early, to do that planning, so when we do have the money, you're ready to roll. And so that's my report for today. Again, I want to thank you all for being here. I just really enjoy getting these opportunities to come and make contact with you and get to hear your stories. So if there's any questions that you have for me later on, I look forward to meeting you. All right, thanks.
I'm not quite as tall as some people are. Because we had elections this morning, we intentionally shortened one of the things we normally do, and we're going to leave it shortened. But I did want to recognize that our Flotilla Leadership Course students are in the room, and they've been able to watch what we do at these things today, so that hopefully they will be encouraged to progress on up to the level where they get up here on this head table. Uh-oh, there goes the class out the back door. But anyway, we're glad to have you here. Moving right along, I believe the next person up is Chief Warrant Officer Scott Cayley, and he's going to give us an Operation Training Officers update.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be back at another DTRAIN, and I don't have to talk about money now because Commander already did. So I can take that. Let me take that off my list right now. So I got three things, and one's one that I always talk about, and that's patrol orders and missions. As Captain Mattern said, you guys are kicking ass with the patrol orders and missions. Last year we had 250. Right now, if all the approved and requested get put through and actually get completed, you have 282 this year. So that's a good jump, and it's going up every year. So keep using Ox data, keep logging those missions, keep getting underway. And I meant to run an hours report, but I didn't do that. But I'll run one and send it out in an email for everyone to see. So with that being said, though, we're at the end of the fiscal year, so we got to close out patrol orders. Right now, you guys did great with the requested. We got them all in before September 11th, I think I gave. 6th was the day. So we have 0 in the requested status. We've got 51 that are still in approved status, and that's where our problem's going to be, because an all-ox came out, and on September 30th, if it's not completed, it's going to get canceled. And there's a couple of those 51 that the mission's supposed to happen on the 29th and 30th of September. So if that's your crew or your flotilla, when you get home that night, you got to go into Oxdata and complete that mission. Otherwise, at midnight, the Oxdata ferry is going to cancel that and it's going to go away. So if you do get underway on the 29th to the 30th, please, when you get back, log in and get that completed so that the OIA can get it approved. Because they're going to have a quick turnaround too. So they give them a little longer, maybe into the October halfway. But so we got 51 approved that we need to get done. Most of them are in September, but make sure you're going in and checking those and getting them completed. We've got 14 in completed status, waiting on the OIAs, and I'll email them again next week and get them in. Does anybody have any issues with the OIAs? They seem to be doing a really good job. I haven't heard any complaints from them. We've got like 20 of them throughout the whole sector, in the MSDs and the MSUs, and they all ask a lot of questions, so that seems to be good. It's going well. And then we've got 217 submitted already, so that means they're done, been paid for, and they're good to go. So that brings that total of 282, which is great. I'm super excited about that. So keep doing that. We just got to keep plugging along with Oxdata. My second thing I want to talk about is PPE, which I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk about PPE, but we've got to do a better job of checking it every April and October and putting it in Oxdata. I know we're checking it because I get the go, no-go reports. I know people are looking at their stuff. I know they're doing it at division meetings, but we've got to get the IS people to go in there and update the stuff. Because at some point in the near future, Oxdata is probably not going to let someone get underway if their gear's in the red or their REYR. It's not catching it now. That's the member's job to do that. But I can see that moving forward. In a couple of years, they're going to have that little crew check button. And when you hit the crew check button, if someone's got red gear, they're not going to let them be on the order. So, and I know people are checking the gear. We just got to get it in the system. So, and I'm here to help with that. I've got user guides. We've got a lot of good IS people. We just got to get the information to them and get it put in there. And then my last thing is the PLBs. I issue the PLBs, but I've got about 20 of them that don't have a registration date in Oxdata. They don't work if you don't register them with NOAA. It's just going to go off, and they're not going to know who to call or who it's going to be. So when you get your PLB, tell your people on the flotillas, go into NOAA, register it, and then have their IS person put that date. The registration date has to be in there with the expiration date and the beacon number and everything else, right? And when they register them to Sector Ohio Valley, and then you put your name and your number in the comments. Because otherwise, it's just going to go off, and they're not going to know who to call or where, what the boat is or anything else. That's it. That's my only three things. Does anybody have questions about any of those? All right. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. District Chief of Staff, Ron Bono, you have an update for us.
I do. Good morning, everybody. First of all, let me congratulate the new Chief of Staff, new district captains. Appreciate you all stepping up and running for the positions. We appreciate it. I look forward to working with the new district leadership and things. Hopefully we can make some things happen in 25 and 26. I also want to thank the district staff officers that I've had the pleasure of working with for the last 2 years. It has been a pleasure. It has been a learning experience. I've learned a lot from listening to you each month. Our attendance in each month at the Zoom calls has been very positive. Out of 24 district staff officers, we've had an average attendance of about 20. There's occasions when a member can't make it, and I certainly understand that. But I've been very happy, so as a Commodore, with the attendance of those district staff officer calls. And we will continue till January 1st, and then we'll start with the new Chief of Staff doing the same thing. The updates are important. I've invited district captains to sit in on those phone calls, not necessarily speak, because we don't need more speakers. It runs now at about an hour and 15 minutes to get my comments, the Commodore's comments, and 24 or 20 district staff officers' comments in that time frame. But I figured if they hear something of importance that they want to follow up on, the next day they can call the respective district staff officer and follow up with them. So for those of you that have heard this presentation in the past, I will let you know that we still have a full complement of district staff officers. That means I have a report from each one. The clock is not on for me, so this will take a little bit, but so that you can follow along, I have put this in alphabetical order. So when you hear the A's, we're just getting started. When I get down to the V's, you know we're pretty close to an end. Let me start off with aviation and District Staff Officer Nick McManus from Division 4. Doug Ornott from Division 8 has had a qualification upgrade to first pilot. Cam Miller and Greg McGee, both of Division 4, has qualified as air crew. However, due to weather and some funding, our aviation program was only able to fly 4 missions during the month of July as training exercises. Nick constantly is pushing for that. He's run a great mission with the aviation team. In August, 12 members of the 82nd Aux Air Squadron traveled to Mobile, Alabama for their aviation safety workshop. Classes consisted of swimming, exiting from a downed aircraft, aeromedical emergency procedures, and from all reports received, it was a very successful week of training that they all had, and they all really enjoyed themselves. Auxiliary Scouts, District Staff Officer Anthony Waters, Division 7. Districts added 3 new ships, including one that is auxiliary sponsored. The mission has engaged with Sea Scouts for vessel safety checks and program visits. There's a potential to add another 4 to 5 new ships within the district, and not necessarily all auxiliary sponsored, but it is continues to be a growing mission. Auxiliary paddlecraft, DSO Lori Anderson, who is from Division 5. Brad Lockhart, who I had the pleasure of meeting down in NACON in Florida, he was doing ACA training down there, took over the complete swimming pool. From Division 5 is 80% complete into his steps to become AQ status with the upcoming ACA L2 River course in late September. He has also taught ACA L2 to Mark Fleener and Justin Kolick out of Division 1207 to be accepted as ACA qualified. Brad has one more class to teach before he can retain his instructor class, and he's working on that with Lori Anderson. So the paddlecraft mission is growing, and hopefully we can continue to keep it grow by getting more auxiliary members interested in it and promoting it more with the boating public. Communications, Roy Nagel from Division 24. Roy's been in his position for the last 2 years. He's got members in 3 divisions are getting equipped with AUXNet radios. I don't think it's like a telephone, but something like it, I guess, but which allows additional communications beyond traditional VHF marine radios. The district's HF network is likewise growing. Roy has been hosting Zoom classes for TCO PQS, which has resulted in 3 new qualified members for communications. Thanks to Roy and Dave Holland out of Division 6, our district's HF net is growing. They are averaging 10 check-ins versus 2 or 3 just 18 months ago. The check-ins to include auxiliaries from districts outside of ours, including 8 Western and 8 Coastal. The net begins to be reliable and consistent coverage for communication. My sincere congratulations to Roy for his successes he has had since stepping into this role as DSO-CM. The mission has grown in interest and member participation, plus now reaching beyond our district lines. Training opportunities remain a challenge going forward, but between him and Dave, they are pursuing other avenues to get this done. Like I say, he's handling the paperwork. He's working with Chief of Scott Cayley in getting the paperwork done, which has been lacking in the past. And Roy and Dave has done an outstanding job with that. Creative Services, DSO Roger Smith out of Division 12. The district's WOW site was recently audited by National. This was the very first audit of our website. All issues that were found were quickly overcome and corrected, which resulted in the receipt of a compliance certification from the national staff. Well done to Roger and Como Randy Ventris for the work they have done with the WOW sites. Coming up in the evaluation of the district's specific forms in CS is they're going to be reviewing the forms to ensure that they are up to date and provide appropriate guidance to our membership. Culinary Services, Teresa Smith, Division 16. Teresa and Tom Jumer from Division 12 had additional 6 interested members in the culinary mission. Jim Robinson of Division 24 was deployed on August 11th through the 26th of August on Coast Guard Cutter Brugenthal, I think, if I'm saying that correctly, out of North Carolina. Lori Allen from Division 5 has completed her 40 hours of CA training and is ready for deployment. Teresa and staff continue to support the Ouachita down in Chattanooga. The CA training has continued, but the amount of Coast Guard call-outs for our culinary staff has really been cut back. And we discussed yesterday with the Commodore that the training for additional culinary staff may have to rotate now to every other year. What we don't want to do is bring on a whole bunch of new culinary staff, train them, get them excited, and they end up sitting on their hands. So once the Coast Guard has more demand for the culinary staff, then we will start training on more of a regular basis again. Diversity is DSO Gordon Higginbotham from Division 4. Diversity team is helping units to complete their 2024 diversity and inclusion activities for the NACO 3-star Diversity and Inclusion Award applications. Submissions begin in January 2025. In 2024, we received 24 NACO 3-star award submissions and awards, which is an increase of 38% increase from 2023. The district has achieved gold and silver status for units receiving consecutive awards. 7 years of consecutive awards went to Flotilla 1804, receiving the gold tone certificate. Division 05 and Flotilla 2406 received the silver tone certificate for 5 consecutive years. Congratulations to both. A little side note. I've developed a greater appreciation for this NACO 3-star award program. If you get past the word of diversity, if you get into that application and the questions within that application, if the flotillas will adhere to that and develop their flotillas and their membership around that, not only will they be eligible for the award, but they will have a much stronger and better flotilla. It is a way of growing the flotillas and its memberships. So go back and take a look at that. And recruitment is the number one priority for 2025. Number one priority. Emergency management. West to Tuvitz. Sir? Notivit. Taking me 2 years, Wes. It might be 3, but I'm getting there. Until then, you can mispronounce my last name. Energy management, West from Division 07. Working on localized EMA partnerships is a key initiative for the EM mission going forward. The emergency management staff are reaching out to nearby division leadership to provide training and support for Everbridge emergency communications and alert systems. We need to move this program forward, division commanders. It is the 21st century of communicating with our membership in emergency situations. I had discussions with different chiefs of staff from around the country at ASOC, and they said, well, how else are you doing it? They refer to it as the old way. We really need to look at this emergency management program, learn how to do it. I think I'd like to discuss with Wes further discussions as to maybe a different approach to how we handle it as a district. But it's an important communication tool that I think we need to kind of get our arms around for the safety and the sake of our membership. Financial, what can I say? Mark Deaver, Division 4. Mark's report, and I quote, "Our district is solvent." I've got to the point that where that makes me feel comfortable. If the Commodore's comfortable, I'm comfortable. Mark says we're solvent, we're solvent. We mentioned last night at the working board meeting about the new 70-25 reporting method. Please go back and work on that. We're asking, National is asking that we upload the reports, financial materials, and the transmittal sheet for 2023. I'm asking that we get that done per division by the end of this year, so that come January 1, 2025, you can focus on the financial and materials in that cover sheet for 2024. And remember that in addition to that report, you need to attach a year-end bank statement for those 2 years. Human Resources, DSO Anita Daniels, Division 06. As I said, recruitment, which includes retention, mentoring, and succession planning are priority number one. We've all said it, we are all recruiters. We need to recruit. We still maintain a high number of members in AP status. Currently 122 is probably as the 1st of September, which is still 13.6%. There is an issue of members that are in AP that are always going to be in ATP. That is a problem. I understand, because you don't see them, you don't hear from them. They send in their check every year. What do you do about them? And to Duncan's point, you can try and take them out by a mistake, and then send Duncan the bill. He'll reimburse you. Probably pay twice as much and pay for your dinner if you get them into BQ status. But I think you need to make an effort. You need to follow up with them. But if they're out, they're out. But at least try to get them back into BQ, or get them into BQ status. Your new membership, focus on them at the beginning, get them into BQ status. From January 1st, 2024, we had a growth of 19 members to a total of 934. Right, Anita? Is that where we still stand? She's not listening to her own report. We're at 934, 935, somewhere in there. Do the math. 19 new members over 12 divisions. Calculator I use, what is it, a 1.5 members per division? Commanders, everybody, we need to do better than that. We need to do better than that to survive. Dues are coming up at the end of this year, and we all know how that goes. That 19 or 20 that we stand at today, by December 1, December 15th, could drop to a much lower net number. So recruitment, priority number one. The commander mentioned it. Lynn Miles and I think Richard worked together as a team to develop the Catch and Keep program. It works, and it has been taken across the country into other districts. Now, there's some adjustments to it, but the principle of it, they've kept, it works. It does work. You get them in the door, you start mentoring them from day one. And we really have to focus on that. And if you see there's some adjustments you can make to it and improve it for your flotilla, make the adjustment, but follow the principles or the guidelines of the Catch and Keep release. We have two divisions that have excelled with their recruitment, Division 7 and Division 24. Stay up to date with your membership as time approaches for the dues collections, as the end of the year is approaching quickly. And get your disenrollments in early. I think we talked about it yesterday, and I think December 31 is pretty much, if you haven't got them in by December 31 for disenrollment or transfer, oh, I'm being corrected, December 1. December 1. If you haven't got them in by December 1, you're probably going to end up paying for them into the next year. Informational Services, Deanne Rodenberg, Division 24. Members are being mentored to enter their own mission activity hours or to at least request the support of a flotilla or division IS officer to enter their respective hours for them. It's not hard. Work with the IS officer, ask him or her how they want it written down on a piece of paper. Let the member write the hours and the activities down and the date down. Let the IS officer enter them. We'd rather have the hours in there than to try and chase the member down to have him enter or her enter their own hours. Remember, if it's not in aux data, it didn't happen. Como Ventures from the Division 11 as ADSO for IS supports Division 16 with loading their hours. Roger Smith, SOIS officer for Division 12, supports Division 12. Anthony Waters as DSO-IS of Division 07 continues to support the district as the Auxiliary 10 instructor. Monthly DSO-IS meetings are held with notes from the meeting being distributed to Deanne to the district IS officers. IS officers can join that call. Deanne recommends joining the call. Just sit there and listen. A lot of it goes over my head, but if you're an IS officer, it's a benefit to you. So if you're an IS officer, you haven't participated, get a hold of Deanne, find out when and where. She'll get you linked in, participate in the call. Legal is DSO Jeff Getty out of Division 7. As a district, we have not had any significant issues this year. We really haven't for a couple years, which Commodore Whitaker and I, Commander, appreciates. Commander asked last night how we are doing it. Chris said he knew people in Chicago. We are fortunate, and here again, and the advantage of the ASOC class, when you can sit with 14 different chiefs of staff from around the country, and you hear their war stories and their issues. I sit there in amazement thinking we're doing something wrong because we don't have the issues that a lot of them are having, and thank goodness we don't. And that's a credit, I think, to the total leadership, camaraderie, the involvement of this district membership. So whatever it is you're doing, please let's continue doing it. Jeff is accessible, and he's had conversations with various division commanders and flotilla commanders when they have questions. And I would continue to call Jeff if you have a question, a legal question. Maybe you can help with other things too. But with a legal question, get a hold of Jeff. Ask Jeff for his advice or suggestions first before you just run off and do it. Member training, Duncan Wilkinson is DSO from Division 24. As noted, the district has 121 members in AP status. The most in any division is 30. The least in any division is 1. Each flotilla with division and district DSO support need to help get the AP members and IP members into a BQ status. Leadership, there has been 102 leadership competency levels earned by our members to date. On the competency levels, level 1, there's been 49 members completed level 1. Level 2, there's been 23. On level 3 competency, 16. And on level 5, there's been 4. So for the flotilla leadership class, the advice I would give is follow that leadership competency guideline. Start with 1 and complete the items that are in level 1. Because if you complete level 3 first, you're not going to get credit for 1 or 2. Start with 1, complete them, move on to level 2. Take your time in doing it. There's no timeline on it, but do it. A total of 583 leadership courses have been taken. 94 members within the district have achieved OXOP status. Marine safety is DSO John Phillips out of Division 5. Following the removal of small boat stations from the western rivers in Division 8, the auxiliary has stepped up to provide support for safety and security zones and for special local regulations during marine events. The negative portion of that is aux data only shows 116 hours in marine safety. They're not entering their hours. A project for the remainder of this year and going into 2025 will be to train and direct our divisions and flotilla operations staff and MS staff to have their coxswains to report Coast Guard requested missions in support of safety and security zones as marine safety hours. Division 12 in Knoxville, Division 16 in Chattanooga have been very active in implementing and promoting the unexpected vessel exam program. Division 12, which Tom Joomer has led for the last couple of years now, has been creative in marketing directly with local PE and PV efforts in promoting the UPVO program throughout and around the Knoxville area. Materials, Teresa Smith. Teresa continues to train and mentor Jim Stewart and Tommy Chapman, who are not in here right now, as part of the succession planning for the ship store. It was something that the Commodore and I worked on from almost the beginning of last year, and we were fortunate to find both Tommy and Jimmy that are willing to step up. We got a new trailer, which Commodore managed to get for us earlier this year, which is working great. The store is set up. Please spend your money. They've worked hard at setting that thing up. They're trying to negotiate prices. They're trying to get more items. We did not go to NACON this year, but we're going to work around that. They are in a process of converting to the use of Square as part of auxiliary's financial requirements. It's an easier way to take our money. So it's fast and easy. Pick out what you want, give Teresa your card, any card you want, she'll take it, done. On sale, I think Teresa mentioned this to you all yesterday that she's got on sale, but I think they're all sold out, as a 6x6 Public Affairs blue tablecloth with the Coast Guard Auxiliary, Coast Guard seal on them. I think she had 10 and she sold out all 10. So anyone that wants one, see her. I think, don't quote me at this, but I think it's about $150 a tablecloth. Recently released is a new interactive uniform guide with everything you need to know about uniforms, but there are bugs in there. But work with it. Go in, take a look at it, play with it, find other bugs and report it on up the line, get them fixed. I think it's easier than going through the manual. It tells you where you can get the uniform parts and that at. It is up and running, so when you get the opportunity, look into it. Aids to navigation, DSO Clyde Miller out of Division 4. 082 has 3 members completed an AVPQS, Cecil Scout, Jerry Clark, both from Division 11, and Eric Nielsen from Division 24. 2 members, Jerry Clark and Mike Foster, attended the AUX 6 Navigational Workshop in Yorktown, Pennsylvania. Clyde flew on an AUX Air flight over Owenstown, Kentucky to Fort Knox along the Ohio River to study the feasibility of ATON patrols from the air. I think it worked pretty good as long as the sun was shining in the right direction. But I think there's more to come with that. Operations, DSO Commodore Randy Ventris, Division 11. In July, surface operation missions at the request of Sector Ohio, Como Ventris and Como Whitaker, Division 24, trailered their facilities to Pittsburgh with the crew of Cecil Stout from Division 11 and Victor Rogers from Division 7 to Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania. This was a round-the-clock mission to support the Corps of Engineers in the blowdown of a low-head dam. Is that right? The mission was 6 days in length, including travel days. At the end of May, 2 members from Division 11 attended the shoreside cleanup assessment training sponsored by Sector Ohio held in Nashville, Tennessee. The 3-day training three-day training included shoreside assessment of spills, including agency roles and responsibilities. The session was presented by NOAA. A major priority for 2025 will be the recruitment of facilities, crew, and coxswains throughout the district. Right after recruitment is recruitment of crew, coxswains, facilities. Public Affairs, DSO Eric Mowry, Division 18. Division 5 in August participated in Paddlecraft Fest and at the Police Night Out in Uniontown, Ohio with Public Affairs booth for visibility and recruitment issues. The newspaper, Paducah Sun, recently published a page-and-a-half article describing the auxiliary. They interviewed both DCR Gene Stigman and Jim Nelson in regards to the auxiliary, themselves, their roles. It was a great article, great picture of Gene and Jim in there, and I hope it helps your recruitment initiative. Division 12 was recently recognized with a proclamation from Knoxville City Mayor for the 85th anniversary of Flotilla 082-1201, Knoxville. It is known to be our first auxiliary. Present for that proclamation was District Captain Mike Miller, DCR Tim Scoggins, and Flotilla Commander Shane Lawson. Publications, DSO Ramon Quay from Division 11. The publications team has produced 3 district newsletters this year, with a 4th coming this fall highlighting our DTRAIN and promoting wider participation in the biannual event. The district has submitted a newsletter and photographs to National Publications Contest. This helps promote the skills of our 8 ER staff and promotes the district activities. It's good publicity. Navigator, which came out in print, has now been canceled and replaced by the new online publication titled The Auxiliarist, which will save the auxiliary a lot of money. It's going to come out electronically. So look for it. I've not seen it out yet, but I'm told it's coming out shortly. It'll also reach a wider audience than the print material. Public education, DSO Tom Jumer from Division 12. Retention of PE instructors is being addressed by implementing mentors to help mentor, train, and involve members to maintain their certification with PE instructor positions and gain new instructors. There is a huge potential in teaching the PE classes in states that require a state boating certificate. Anyone 35 years old or younger are now required to have boating certification. This is just another way to help save lives on the water with face-to-face education in addition to vessel safety checks. We've seen in my flotilla even a big increase in participation of younger people. They're coming a good distance. And when I asked why, they said because TWRA, Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, is now promoting our class up in Campbell County, which is about 55, 60 miles north of here, which is good for us. So we're getting a bigger audience. We're getting 20 to 25 students in our 3 classes now. PE and IS staff have joined forces researching why our class enrollments are overstated in AUX data, along with instructor hours. At this time, they feel it's a problem of actual logging, is not a problem of actual logging of the hours, but with the system recording the count. There's more to come on this. This is Tom and Deanne. Leo's been involved. It's something that they are working on to try to get corrected. Program visits, DSO Cecil Stout from Division 11. As of the report, the district has completed 4,599 PVs by 106 PV auxiliaries. In 2023, the count was 5,142 PVs completed. We are 543 PVs of exceeding last year, which I expect will probably happen between the November count or August count and September count. Right, Cecil? Well, that's an accomplishment. Those are big numbers. The PV mission is averaging 43 PVs per active PV member versus a projection of 35. Secretary of Records. what can you say? Roseanne is stepping down, which I think you all know, after this year. She found out that I was running for office, and she said, no way am I trying to write what that man talks about. Roseanne's stepping down. I congratulate her. I thank her. She's done a great job for Commodore Whitaker. She's done a great job for the district. She's followed through. I don't know how she does what she does, but Roseanne, thank you very much. I appreciate We talked yesterday, sometime. Roseanne's not going to go anywhere. Commodore Whitaker's not going to let her go too far. She's not going to be the Secretary of Records. However, we got 3 people to replace her. That's how many it took. I couldn't believe it, but that's what it took. We originally started off with 2, and the 2 said, wait a minute, this is not enough. We need a 3rd one. We have 3. The job is more. The job has grown into more than what it was. And what we have right now is Jennifer Lane from Division 12, Glenda Stout from Division 11, and Mike Rogers from Division 12 that are filling that position now. We've organized it geographically by district captains. So Glenda's working with one particular district captain, and so is Jennifer, and so will Mike be. The effort is to help your division IS officers, or Secretary of Records officer, to work with your respective flotilla S&R records officer to get those 7,000 forms completed and completed correctly so that they can get them to those 3 people that can get them uploaded. If you have a question, you have a problem, please call your respective officer for SR, okay? If you don't know who's who, see me or Glenda, or Jennifer's not here yet this afternoon, but one of those 3, and we will help you. As an addition to that, the financials, if you need help, call Mark. But the job, as I said, has grown into more than just taking the notes at these meeting minutes. It is now working with 12 different divisions and 53 flotillas. So help those 3 members help you. Last month, they had a training class down at NACON for Secretary of Records, the 7,000 form. And the Commodore paid for one of the 2 ladies to go down, so we sent both Glenda and Jennifer down. It was an intense 2 days of training, which I heard about after it was over with. They did not allow proper breaks. It just went on and on. It was a 2-day class filled with a lot of information and a lot of questions, a lot of feedback, what they have already gotten from the field. But I would say they're pretty well on their way to trained, and they are more than capable to help your S&R staff. State Liaison Officer. This was a role that Commodore asked last year, challenged me, I guess. He said, find someone to fill this position to do this. And I did find a person, Doug Fields. Doug said, what is this position? He'd heard about it. I think Stroop did it. Commodore Stroop did it for a while. I didn't know. We dug out an old job description, which doesn't tell you a lot. So I said to Doug, I said, look, let's just, you and I will make something of it. Let's see where this goes. Just don't get us in trouble. Well, Doug's pursued it. He's worked with Alabama. He's been working with Ohio, trying to build it. Well, we just came up with support for Doug. And it's Robert White, who transferred in from Vermont, who did this very job in the state of Vermont. So we met last night. The 3 of us met last night. I've talked to Robert on the telephone. Doug spoke to him on the telephone. We didn't know what he looked like. He didn't know what we looked like. We arranged a meeting location that was filled with people. And I asked Doug, I said, how are we going to pick him out? Doug said, I don't know. Commodore Ventress told me, look for the guy with the cane. He's got a bad knee and a bad hip. We met, probably for about 30 minutes yesterday evening. I think we're all on the same page. We're going to try to put something together. I told him anything we start to do from a government standpoint, we're not here to make laws, change laws, it's not our job. But we're the conduit of communication and information that will come to certainly Commodore Cernovich, our Captain Mattern, and to you folks. And before we try to do anything from that end of it, we have to have their approval first and buy-in. So there's more to come on that. This is a growing mission. We're going to try and develop into something that will benefit us as a district. If you haven't followed it, we're at the V's. And the last mission is vessel safety checks. DSO Leo Ikutis from Division 5. As of this morning, because I lost his email, the district has completed 6,384 vessel safety checks, and we still have daylight to go. Compared to 2023, we were at 5,029 vessel safety checks, which is a 26.9% increase over last year's completion. Those are some big numbers, and that is face-to-face PE class in a boat, in a kayak, on a dock, not only with the operator of the boat, but with his passengers and bystanders and so on. We have 7 VEs achieving the Century Award this year, which is basically completing over 100 vessel safety checks for the year. Both ADSO Frank Smith and Justin Daniel have contributed as ADSOs to increase these numbers with mentoring and benchmarking alongside of Leo. Now, the real news is Carl Mossberg, and I think everybody knows Carl Mossberg, with probably the exception of the flotilla leadership class. Carl Mossberg, to this date, this year, has completed 1,304 vessel safety checks. He sleeps somewhere between 4 and 8 in the morning. He's out doing vessel safety checks. He's die hard. I think he is over 10,000 vessel safety checks, lifetime vessel safety checks. 11,300 vessel safety checks. Division 5 itself has completed 3,418 vessel safety checks this year. And Flotilla 0503, I don't know whose flotilla that is, I know it's 05, but, they've completed 1,740 vessel safety checks. And as an FSO for my flotilla's program, that's a lot of vessel safety checks. So congratulations, thank you to Division 5, thank you to Carl Mossberg, Leo, Justin, and Frank Smith. Thank you very much for your leadership in this mission. Okay, V's, I'm done. Thank you all very much for listening to me.
Too bad our district staff doesn't do anything and doesn't report on anything, isn't it? With that, just to throw a kicker in the works, it's time for our district captains to talk to us, and because I told the staff to put it down one way and I've done it that way, I'm going to reverse it just for the fun of it. Leo, you're up first.
Good morning. My speech will only be slightly longer than Ron's.
No, it won't.
I have 5 minutes, and as promised, I never use all my time, so I try to be succinct. What I've learned in being district captain this year is that this is not a job about communication, which is a responsibility. It's not a job about personnel issues, which is a responsibility. It's not just the interaction with the Gold side. Its primary focus are the people and the division commanders that the district captain works with. So I'd like to speak a little bit about each of the divisions and the division commanders, and then also to thank my mentors that have gotten me this far this year. And it has been a learning experience. But when you hear the list of mentors and how many people I've had to depend upon to get this far in a year, I think you'll understand what this role entails. Division 1, Michael. He took over a broken bicycle, and he's been working very hard to get it working in terms of metrics, qualifications, everything that it takes to have a fully functioning division. At the same time, they have successes, and they have a great number of public affairs events. They've had a number of memorial service events. They've been in the news. They're reaching the public. And while things are getting taken care of and getting the ship in order, they're also having a number of accomplishments. So he's taken both the successes and failures, and he's worked through them. I have not spent more time on the phone with anyone else in this role. He's been gracious about it, and I think that we're heading in the right direction with Division 1. Division 4. When I grow up, I want to be you, Carl. I mean, honestly, there's nobody. If I was going to ask for any role model in this room, Commodores included, for who is the ideal division commander, it's you. You have a team that wants to work with you. You have a team that is accomplishing on all things, and you lead by example. At Lake Cumberland, the activities that you have underwater, the training, the QEs that you're doing, the people that you're bringing in from other districts, other divisions, that you host people in your trailer in your house so they have a place to stay to control the finances, that you have 2 vessels so that you can get everything done at one time, and you continually make yourself available, and you are probably the most expert towing person there is. Your accomplishments and the accomplishments of Division 4 are outstanding. I appreciate everything you do. Woody, you took a Division 5, which was already high functioning, and you've taken it to a new level. Last year we did 1,800 vessel safety checks in Division 5. I challenged the division to double that number. Not a 20%, not a 30%, 100% increase. They're going to do it. Carl Mossbaug's good for another 300 or 400, and a couple other people are contributing. We now have 4 people above 300. So it is an amazing accomplishment. Also, the time underwater, the events, the risk management work, Riverfest, Battlefest, and you're leading communications for Battlefest. So there's great leadership by example in Division 5. Some challenges in recruiting. That's Division 5's albatross. We're going to have to work on that. But I don't think that would be a unique challenge to this group. Division 8, Jean's been one of my mentors. She's been in rebuilding her division, and I go to her for advice on personnel issues more than she comes to me. Now, thanking very quickly to people I've had to go to. Jean, Tom Foreman in Division 1, the past division commander. Doug Field, who only a couple of times this year has had to say, Leo, have you considered? And that's his way of saying, Leo, your head is, never mind. Randy Ventris, Commodore Randy Ventris, Commodore Matt Meyer, our current Commodore Chief of Staff. Duncan, I've had to go to on a number of occasions. Flotilla Commander Frank Smith, Commodore Dave Stroop, Mike Miller, and Jeff Getty, just to name a few. And I've worked with many others of you. So this is a role about people, and it's a role about accomplishments. It does have metrics involved. It does have personnel issues, but this has probably been the best education role I could have taken in the auxiliary, and I thank you.
I don't want to put the same person in the middle spot again, so we're going to jump over Mike and go directly to John Franco.
Everybody on their toes. So I apologize, just the way the meeting goes. I'll bring up some points that have already been brought up. Try to keep it brief here. For the divisions in the east area, as all the divisions, it's been a busy summer. There's been a lot going on, a lot of changes. We've had one of our divisions completed the Everbridge training, Everbridge paperwork, and it's actually was circulated as an example for other divisions to take and follow through with. They've performed a test with it, and Wes, it was an average expected result, would you say, with it? They had many members respond, some didn't, some bad contacts, so that's still in progress, being worked through and stepped forward on. All of our divisions have participated in numerous public affair events, from parades and regattas, fireworks on the 4th of July, among many other events, public affair events. And all of the divisions are also attending various meetings with industries, Goldside, other public affairs through Homeland Security meetings, safe boating councils, industry partnership meetings. So their presence and their face has been out and about all year. I'm glad that it was reported to me that all divisions had memberships participate in some form for Safe Boating Week this year, from displays to patrols to publications. So there was participation from all the divisions with that. One common thread that's been, I'll say, district-wide is boat crew. We need more crew. We need more coxswain. And it was a focus early on, and we've had a few new crew, a few new coxswain QE'd. We have scheduled for continuation and 3-year check rides to keep our numbers. Facility-wise, we're kind of back and forth. We've had some new facilities offered. So I'm glad to see we're still focusing and trying to resolve problems with numbers on the crew program. We have divisions report to me that flotillas are breaking or on record to break numbers for both vessel examinations and program visitors, so that's good to see as well. One was brought up, and Vic, I hope you're done with your antacids that was needed, but Pittsburgh did have an interdivision operations. Vic was thrown into central point of contact for this, for the local area. It was for a scheduled demolition and removal of a lock and dam by the Corps of Engineers. So I know it was appreciated with the long trailers that people had bringing facilities and long hours that have occurred with that. We've had divisions and flotillas recognize that personnel may not be where needed. They've taken the initiative to look at opening detachments, rearranging meeting locations, trying to reorganize where their personnel are at to better serve the public and serve their missions. We also have some interdivision trainings that have occurred for, I'll say, Coast EPA events. There is conversations of some operations and other leadership training between divisions going on. I hope that continues on. That is a good thing to see. Just a general update, we do have one of the new university programs in East. It's going into its 3rd year right now. They are returning 17 students from last year. I've been told that there's been 4 inquiries already, and that is not including any college organization events yet. So that's just students interacting with students, recruiting. So they're bringing in recruits themselves already. And I would finish with thanking the division commanders, Eric, Vic, Josh isn't here, John and Greg, for their help and the support the last 2 years that I have. I will make the plea and wish, I guess, Vic, to help Vic out. Start getting your year-end reports taken care of. And with the new requirements, good luck. So with that, I'll step aside.
Thank you. Mike Miller, you're now up. I wasn't going to forget you.
This is one of my favorite things to do. I love talking and bragging about people, and this is certainly a great chance to do that because I have a lot of people to brag about. The South, Division 11, 119 members, led by Clifton Ogden as a division commander and Cecil Stout as vice division commander. Get ready for this number. Patrol hours, 800.29 patrol hours. Now, this is me doing the math out of Ox data, so who knows if it's right or not. But I did the same for everybody, so comparatively, it's fair. But 800.29 hours, and they were very active in supporting the event in Pittsburgh. Randy Ventress and Cecil Stout went up there and spent a couple days, or 3 or 4 days, or 6 days, and so kudos to them. They've done 511 VSCs, and the team of Cecil and Glenda Stout have done 87 of those. And for PVs, 582. And once again, the team of Cecil and Glenda Stout have contributed 204, and Glenda 116 by herself. PEs, 85.5 lead instruction hours, 11 classes. And the classes are they're Boat America, youth courses, and so not just a boating safety class. And once again, I'll call out the Glenda and Cecil team doing 44 hours of classes for kids and youth. So kudos to those guys. Anthony Griffin at 11.5 does an outstanding job with member training. He has 22 out of 31 of his members with at least one qualification. Everybody's BQ, and 24 of 31 of the auxiliarists have completed the auxiliary flotilla leadership class. They're very active in doing community events. Clifton and crew went up to and participated in DSAR, and they're very active with the Nashville MSD. Division 12, Tim Scoggins and Randy Woods. We stand at 99 members, up 3, and we were able to earn or be awarded a proclamation, as mentioned earlier, for 85 years in the auxiliary and being the first flotilla in the auxiliary. They've attended several events, PA events. We put 169.93 hours on the water. Now, this started. We ended the year last year with 5 facilities, 5 coxswains, and 6 crew. We started the year this season with no coxswains and 2 crew and one facility, but we had 2 facilities. And so we finally got a coxswain able to go in the water in August, and since then. We've managed to get in a position to qualify 4 people, hopefully by the end of the month, and we've also been supported Chattanooga and helping qualify their folks. So we're hoping to qualify 8 people by the end of the month. We've done 400 VSCs with Jim Robeson doing 94, 197 PVs with Ron Bono, which you might know, doing 47. And PEs, we've done 90.6 hours and 12 classes. And the classes range from boating safety to currently in command and the whole spectrum of the classes. Culinary, 334.25 hours. Jim Robeson just did 246 hours last week or 2 weeks ago, and Tom Jimmer's done 88 and a quarter. So kudos to those guys. Division 16. Division 16 is in the middle of a reorganization program, and they've done amazing things. The group is very excited. That they've put in 50.1 hours on the water since August, and are trying to get their coxswain and crew back in the mix. So, and I think we're going to accomplish doing that. They've got 57 members. They've done 28 VSCs, 11 PVs, 6 classes with 52 3/4 hours of instruction time. In culinary, they've got 87.5 hours. And in chaplain support, they've got 97.2 hours with Oliver Tremu leading the way there. Sarah also competed in DSAR, and they worked very hard on building relationships with Ouachita, which just turned over their leadership, so it's a whole new Ouachita crew. Division 24 in Huntsville, 135 members. All 5 flotillas in Division 24 have been awarded the NACWA 3-Star Award. They've been very active in PA events throughout the year. They've put in 618 hours on the water, and 2 members are qualifying for the Operational Service Award. They've done 187 VSCs, 199 PVs, and have taught 8 classes and 64 1/3 PE hours. And altogether, the district has, or the South has 410 members, and they've gotten, I think they're well poised for next year. I think Clifton's inheriting a very, very active South, and achieved it and set up for even more achievement this year. It's been my great pleasure to serve as District Captain South. I've loved every minute of it. It's always inspiring to me to work with people who do things and get accomplishments, and certainly I've been blessed with that. So thank you very much, and
Well, as you can see, our district hasn't done anything. I mean, you've heard the chiefs of staff report, and you've heard the district captains, and it just seems like we haven't done anything but sat around all day shining our seats, right? Come on, tell me I'm full of it. I mean, you know, be honest. I mean, okay. District Commodore's report is really simple. We're doing good. I'm glad to report that. We've had one major challenge this year, and that is to help the Coast Guard, Gold Side, handle as they get cut back and moved around and shuffled and all that kind of good stuff. And just so you know that not everything's rosy, is at least twice I have shown up someplace and gone, "You're who? For what?" And, you know, it's that "you're who for what" I kind of wonder about. It's like, you know, I drove how far to get here, and I'm known as "you're who?" So, you know, it's just more fun that we have to work on and things we're going to take care of. And fortunately, you guys, folks, elected a wonderful new bridge for next year. And so when I kick Matt out of the way down there, I will be able to sit down at that end of the table and look at Ron as he's going, "What did you do to me?" So that's where the district stands right now. We're in good shape, and we're going to keep on plugging away. So I flipped the page, and the page says that it's time for Anita to talk to us about 2025. No, I don't have Van John. It just said. Come right on up here.
Press the green button, and that'll move your slide presentation. I'm going to sit right here. I'm just here for moral support.
Okay, all right. Okay, yep, it is still morning, so good morning. On behalf of Division 2, I would like to formally invite everyone to the 2025 Spring DTRAIN. It will be in Charleston, West Virginia, at the Holiday Inn, South Charleston. And the dates of that will be April 10th through the 13th, 2025. Okay, Charleston, West Virginia, a small town. I just wanted to put this slide in there basically to show that the city is centered around the Kanawha River. Our state capital is just within feet of the river. And after a long day of patrolling, a lot of people like to go there for a photo opportunity. And I like to say that's an ideal place to reflect. Okay. Again, it's on the Kanawha River as it flows downstream to the Ohio River. And a lot of wide variety of recreational boating, commercial craft as well. Okay, there's a rich history of the Kanawha River, as there is with practically any waterway in your particular areas as well. But from the earliest inhabitants to the barge traffic of today, again, a strong history there. But we are known for a particular type of travel on the rivers, whether you call it a paddle wheeler, stern wheeler, steamboat, or a riverboat. We're all familiar with these, and again, there are a large number of those in our area, and not too far up the Ohio from Charleston is the Stern Wheel Festival, which is a very large event for us. And I have the quotes around riverboat, okay? That's what we're going to refer to it as during our DTRAIN, and particularly for our Friday fun night, okay? Riverboat. People my age and older may recognize this person, okay? But he's a stereotypical riverboat gambler. No, we're not going to have a wild night of card playing and gambling, but we are going to board a virtual riverboat for a fun night of an evening of fun, okay? We'll have the costume judging, as is a tradition at this point. But again, recognizing on that boat, there's not just the riverboat gambler. There are the crew, the deckhand, entertainers, other people that may be traveling on the boat to some other destination. We'll have some trivia events, a wide variety of games, and prizes and some entertainment for you. So again, hopefully it's something you'll find to be very enjoyable. And again, that's in Charleston on April 10th through the 13th. I hope to see you there. Thank you. Okay.
I just wanted to go ahead and give everybody also the dates for fall, so you have those. You can get those on your calendars. Fall will be hosted by Division 4 in Lexington, and we will be at the Clarion on Newtown Pike, September 11th through the 14th. Again, that's the Clarion in Newtown Pike, September 11th through the 14th. So we can look forward to more information on that in the spring, but just so you have the dates, all right? Thank you.
Thank you. And that brings us to an operations update from the mighty Commodore of Interest. You gonna get up here, or is it time for me to call somebody else?
When District Commodore Little E, that means elect, Ron Bono gave me a call. He said, I need some bullet points on what you've done operationally. What you've done operationally. Had I gone ahead and looked ahead at today's agenda, I wouldn't have given them all my entire bullet points. So you're going to probably hear most of this again briefly, but we've been really busy operationally throughout the district. Division 12 has been working to qualify, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mike, 3 new crewmen and getting ready to do a third-year currency to remove an REYR. Supported wakeboard, a wakeboard event for 2 days on the Tennessee River. Has been assisting Division 16, and Mike's been the driving force on that to do get an initial coxswain qualification done, a third-year currency, and 2 transfer third-year currencies done for the QEs. The district, I'm throwing this in there right here, the district sent 2 crews made up of members from Divisions 5, 16, and 11 to 8th Western Rivers DSAR event, and they did very well at it. Division 2 has 2 cocks and 1 crew obtaining night certification, with 2 crew successfully being QE'd for day ops. Division 18 held 3 review training sessions in May, June, and July, going over the required training material with members. Division 18 has 6 members who are eager to move on with training to get on the water, and looking forward to seeing that happen, Eric. I hope it happens soon. A special point to note is that the division has multiple offers to help our boat crew effort from the surrounding divisions, 5, 6, and 7. Division 24 provided 1 facility in Coxswain, as has already been mentioned, for the safety zone at the Elizabeth Dam in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania. They've provided 4 facilities and crews for the safety zone for Swim Hobbs Island event near Huntsville. They provided 4 facilities and crews for the safety zone for the Rocket Man Triathlon near Redstone Arsenal, Alabama. Provided at least 5 facilities and crews for the safety zone for the Gunnersville Hydrofest near Gunnersville, Alabama. Division 4 has supported the Owensboro Air Show poker runs, thunder runs, and raft ups. Division 11 now has a portable communications platform, having acquired a surplus surplus communications trailer from another agency. Also, Division 11 has 1 member that travels frequently to South Florida, and while he's there, trains with the Coast Guard as often as possible and with one of the local flotillas. Last year, Division 11 added 2 facilities and has expanded their patrols to include areas not regularly patrolled by the division. Percy Priest Lake at Nashville is a neglected Soul State water we barely ever get into from time to time, but now we have a dedicated facility for that lake, doing numerous day and night missions, weekends and during the week. We are also working with the Corps of Engineers on that lake to identify private aids to navigation that are discrepant, and there are very few aids to navigation on that waterway, but there are quite a few, and they do have some discrepancies. I'm pleased to say that the Cumberland River now is covered all the way from the Kentucky state line in the Division 11 area, from the Kentucky state line to the west to Cordell Hull Dam to the east, essentially full coverage. And of course, Division 8 is picking up the distance between the state line and the Ohio River. One of Division 11's facilities and crew have begun patrols on the long neglected western portion of the Tennessee River from up near the Kentucky state line down to Cuba Landing. It's a distance of approximately 70 river miles, and these patrols are multi-mission patrols. We combine marine observation missions, training, as well as aids to verification while we're out. Division 11's grown from 1 AIDS verifier PQS to 3 this summer. That gives the district 4, if I'm not mistaken. I think you said, Rod? Okay. One team performed a 6-hour-long patrol dedicated to AIDS verification on the Cumberland River in the Nashville area, identifying a long list of AIDS discrepancies. This patrol covered a distance of 80 miles round trip, and I might say never once did that crew put their foot on solid ground for that 6-hour period. They were totally in the boat. Finally, one of Division 11's facilities and crew, as we've already talked about, trailered, and it was Cecil Stout's facility that was trailered up there, not mine, okay? I can't take claim to that. Besides, no self-respecting Air Force guy would ever call his boat Semper Fi. But anyway, we did went up to support Division 7 and the Corps of Engineers on the blowdown of the dam up there. We were tasked with an 8-hour security patrols. Oh, by the way, it was mentioned that we had the midnight shift. We drew the short straw. So as those of you that know me, at 9 o'clock, the lights start to go out and I start turning into a pumpkin. So that was tough between midnight and 8 in the morning. But anyway, we kept the public boaters out of the hazardous area where there was already, explosives charges were already in place. From a QE standpoint, we still have quite a few scheduled recertifications and initial certifications scheduled for the next 2 months. Hopefully the money will hold out and hopefully we get orders for it. And finally, as of last Wednesday, 8th Eastern Region has completed well over 2,700 surface hours for this year. And with that, thank you.
Now, there's not going to be a whole lot of hands go up, so you'll have to look at where they are. With those people who participated in the district search and rescue exercise.
Did I mention that our district sent some people up?
If you had, and I'm just going to say I want the people who participated in it to raise their hands. So anybody who's curious about what one is like or wants to know more about it, see some of these people with their hands up. They went to one, they had a good time, right? Had a good time. And they learned stuff and they showed stuff and they got some awards. So give them a chance to talk your ear off about how great they are. Yes, sir?
How many remember District 8th Eastern 2010?
You know, we've had 3 in recent years, so long as we go back far enough to count as recent. It's my job to be able to go back far enough. Duncan Wilkinson, would you like to step forward and give us a member training update?
Be advised, this is a no numbers presentation. One of the problems we got that the director came up with, the training model and the funding model are 180 degrees out of phase. Because you start your on-the-water training when you can get the boats down off the barrels. In certain areas, that's earlier than later in other areas. By the time you get them all trained, the money's run out. Because it takes 2 or 3 months to get them trained. You go through all the exercise, and then you want to get them qualified, and there's no money. So maybe we need to start training people in the fall, and then check them out in April and May and return. Okay. Also, Randy brought up, please make an effort in the boat crew program to do some training every time you go out on the water. I've been told that the Coast Guard folks, when they go out, do training. And that's because for a lot of them, they've got some new people on the boat and they haven't had any experience. For those of us that had the same crew on our boat for the last 35 years, it's sort of hard to tell them you need to learn how to tie a bowline. But you need to have that training and get that done. Let's talk about sea schools. The director again brought up the point that sea schools are shut. To go to a sea school, you have to submit an individual STTR. You're not going to get there any other way. The STTRs have to be approved by the DSO of the course that is being given. You can send them to me, and I'll send them on, but you still have got to do it. And you got to sign it. And you can help Laura out by telling her and putting tape reports from Oxdata that they core trained, they've got all the requirements. She will enter them in the thing called DA, which is not the Department of the Army. It's called Direct Access. It belongs to the Coast Guard. Only certain people can get in. Only certain people can figure out who's in it, and none of us are here except for Laura. And maybe, I don't even think you let the director in, do you? You let the director in, DA? Okay, a good move.
When you got Laura, you don't need anybody else.
But as soon as the person decides they want to go, get your STTR in. Years ago, when we had a big quota, they didn't want the STTRs in until the course was announced it was going to take place. So if you have somebody, by the way, there are not going to be any A and B Oxlam courses this year, this calendar year. They're only going to be the long ones, and you'll have to attend those online. How many people brought their training schedule to the conference this morning? Good, good. I'd like to remind you that if you're here on orders, you're expected to attend one of these classes or more of these classes. You can't go shopping. My recommendation is, if you're not going to do any, is at least go to Mark's class on finance, because you are ultimately responsible for the flotillas that are underneath you. But go to one. Now, when you go to those classes, there will be an attendance roster. Please sign the attendance roster. They're orange or yellow or green, or it doesn't matter as long as you think you do it. We're going to use that to enter OX data with your 99D time. So when you go home and start doing your 99A as a staff member or your 99E as a non-staff member time, don't include the time you're in the classroom. Or just put it all together and don't worry about it. But it's very important for you to sign those sign-in sheets. One of the things that we've got, if you look at the training model in the ESOs and the national departments, once you get above a flotilla, we tend to do the stovepipe, the barrels, the whatever. It's all segregated. When you get to national, it's even worse. The PE people don't talk to the MT people, who don't talk to the operations people, because you can't get it in my domain. At the flotilla level, though, member training is everybody's job. And then when you get to the division level, you have these staff officers that just do reports. Please, at the member training level, insist that everybody does member training if we do all those things. I think I've covered most of this. I think I'm keeping you guys from lunch. And are there any questions? Are there any questions that you have for anybody at the table up here?
I got one, just to rehash it. The 7025, the end-of-year report. So it sounds like the expectation is to resubmit 2023, correct?
Correct.
Is that on the new form or just that it gets uploaded? So does it have to be retranslated to the new 7025 and re-signed by the officers?
Not that you've heard, right, Mark?
No, it's just make a copy of what you
Got it.
have.
So they have a baseline for this. Right. I've got it. Okay. Right.
And he'll cover that tomorrow morning, starting at 8 o'clock. By the way, if you have not read that SOP, you need to read it because there are dramatic changes in the way that we do things. I read it the other night, and our flotilla doesn't even come close. Commodore?
It's my turn again.
It's your turn again.
Thank you, sir. All right. And now it's time for the auxiliary sector coordinator to come up and give his comments. And then you will be lucky because I'll probably let you guys go to lunch early if he's short.
So you all thought you were going to go to lunch, and now you have to listen to me, but I'll try to be brief. A lot of people don't realize, or many people, I guess, do, that I actually wear two hats for the auxiliary. I work in the DIROC's office with our OTO, Chief Warrant Officer Scott Cayley. And the second thing I do is the Auxiliary Sector Coordinator, which I'll elaborate on in a few minutes. Basically, for spring DTRAIN, I elaborated on the jobs I do at the DIROC's office. So just briefly, we do administrative tasks there, data input, issuing of gear, assisting the OTO in various tasks, ID cards, which is always an interesting issue. And basically, that's what I do there. One quick shout out to those people who aren't aware of it. Rick Garnflow retired from the auxiliary. He was my assistant at the DIROC's office, and Randy Ventris has replaced him. And if anybody's ever worked with Randy, everything he does an outstanding job. So, needless to say, I think Scott and I are delighted to have him on board. Speaking for you, OTO. The second thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to talk about more detail, is my OTO position. And that's my ASC position, excuse me, Auxiliary Sector Coordinator for Sector Ohio Valley. And basically what I do is I coordinate the activities between the gold side and the auxiliary. And if you want more details, you can go into the manual about exactly what we do. I'm not going to read all through them because I know everybody's anxious to get to lunch. And it also talks about the minimum requirements for the jobs. And reporting to me, within Sector Ohio Valley, there are 3 marine safety units and 2 marine safety detachments. And each of these units and detachments has a coordinator. Marine Safety Unit Huntington, we've got Greg Michael. Marine Safety Unit Paducah, we've got John Cravallo. Marine Safety Unit Pittsburgh, we have Vic Rogers. Marine Safety Detachment Cincinnati, we have LaRue Turner. And Marine Safety Detachment in Nashville, our newest one is Buddy Clark. He's doing an outstanding job down there. All 5 of these auxiliaries are doing an outstanding job, and they report to me. And their duties include attending sector unit or detachment meetings, acting as liaisons between the sector, unit, or the detachment, and provide auxiliary support for the gold side. And one thing I would like to say, when dealing with one of these coordinators, please make sure that you don't violate the chain of leadership. If you deal directly with them, make sure that your superiors know exactly what you're doing so they don't get caught cold. So that is an important issue. Some of the types of training support we give, administrative, chaplain support, food services, public affairs, CPR and first aid training, fingerprint technician. We do a lot in ICS, Incident Command support, the 100, 200, 210, 300, 400, 700, and 800. We have interpreters. We have 2 pharmacists now, I believe, telecommunications operators, assistant barge inspectors, assistant pollution inspectors, assistant unassigned passenger vessel inspectors, and watchstanders. So basically, we can perform any function in the Coast Guard as long as we are qualified, with the exception of military action and law enforcement. They don't let us carry guns, so which is probably a good thing. As I said before, I do have one concern that in dealing directly with them, make sure that the chain of leadership is aware of it so they don't get caught cold. I know as DCAP, Chief of Staff, and Commodore, one thing that used to drive me nuts is when somebody from the gold side or higher up would come up and talk to me about a certain issue that we were working on, and I had no idea of it. So keep everybody informed. And I'm well aware of what our coordinators do because they send me quarterly reports, which I put together and forward to the Commodore and the Chief of Staff. Where am I here? Okay, this has been a lot of information, and like I say, I'm not going to go into a tremendous amount of detail, but I will be here for the rest of the conference. So if anybody has any questions, if they want to ask them now, or just catch me later this afternoon or this evening at the fun night or anytime tomorrow during training of the Commodore's banquet, please do. And just a final thought, we need to continue to be an excellent force multiplier for the gold side, because basically this is why we exist. If we can't assist the gold side in their mission, then there's really no need for the auxiliary. So keep that in mind. Try to do everything you can to be a good force multiplier. That's basically all I have to say. If anybody has any questions now, or you can catch me later. Everybody looks like they're hungry. So with that, I'd like to thank you and have a good conference.
All right. For those of you who are part of the DTRAIN text link, you probably just got a text that said that lunch will be served at 11:45 in the dining room area. Yes, sir. What's your question? Are they back in here after lunch? Briefly? Okay. So FLC, you're back in here after lunch, according to what I was just told. When we do come back from lunch, since there will be some presentations, the head table will be mostly out yonder way so they can see the presentations easier. You won't be needing to sit by your signs anymore. And let's see, is there anything else I need to say? Is there anything else the administrative people would like to say or point out?
I don't think so. For the FLC students, you'll probably hear this later. Make sure you bring your tickets tonight for the dinner.
If you're going to go to dinner tonight, bring your ticket with you. Otherwise, you may have to go back to your room to get it.
And if you haven't got your ticket yet, registration's open out here.
All right. And with that, I think we can go to lunch. No, I don't. Meeting's not adjourned. We are recessing. That doesn't on mine. It does there, but yeah. I have made an executive decision. It will be after lunch. We are recessing. Okay. Anybody be nervous? I mean, you guys volunteered for it, you stepped up, you are now stuck in it, so relax and enjoy. No, I'm just he hasn't selling down from July. I know. Boat smashing up against the wall, truck stuck on the train track. Yeah, but that was somebody else's problem.
Oh, cold. I don't know, cold.
I ran out of time, I'm sorry.
He said to ask, if not, no big deal. I'll go ahead. It's up to me to make sure it's taken care of. I didn't know you said yes. Earlier. Okay. They will take off me. Okay. Okay. Put on his. Okay. This one here, I'm gonna bring. Okay. I just don't want Does it have like a lot of memories that can stay with it? It may come off the shirt, but it's still burnt into the skin. I just wanted to make sure, so I guess last time.
Yes, sir. Here, I'm gonna be in my room this afternoon.
Okay.
If you need me, just holler.
Okay, you're not on the schedule for anything this afternoon, are you? Okay.
If something comes up that you need, I'm just up in my room.
Gotcha.
Something with it.